Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So today we will then start with this electrophilic attack. Oh, it is not attach, but it will be attack on monosubstituted benzene ring. Then we will discuss on the effect of that substitution. That is what we are denoting as Y. Then we will also look at the ortho and para orientation. How does their orientation depends and matters based on different substituents and also different incoming electrophiles. Then we'll discuss about the kinetic and thermodynamic control. This will come at the end. And then we will also talk about another special reaction called ipso substitution. Okay. So if we're talking about electrophilic attack on monosubstituted benzene ring, I think all of you know that there are two types of orienting groups, correct? One is your ortho para orienting group, another is your meta orienting group, correct? So which are ortho para orienting group? Those that are giving the electrons to the system, to the aromatic system. And when the substituent is electron withdrawing, most of the time it is giving the meta orientation, correct? This information, I think you know everybody. I mean, all of you know this one. Okay? That when there is a donating group, either by plus I effect or by plus R effect, it leads to most of the time orthopara orientation. Okay, there may be some difference. I mean, there may be product contribution, this much ortho, this much meta, this much para. There could be also some amount of meta. And when the substituent is electron withdrawing, it most of the time leads to the meta as the major product. This information we know, but do you know why that happens? What is the reason behind that? Why in one case you get one sort of product, in another case you get another sort of product? So today with this information, let's go little bit in deep with that knowledge. Okay, so yeah, so let's discuss about the nature of orthopara orientation first. So let's say electrophilic attack on monosubstituted benzene ring. You have this benzene PHY, and then yeah, you have this benzene ring PHY, and then when an electrophile denoted by E comes and attack in the ortho position, you generate a positive charge in this carbon center, which is directly attached with the substituent, okay, the Y group. Now we have to make also the resonating structure. It will have three different resonating structure. If this bond comes here, you have a positive charge here, and again if this bond moves, you have a positive charge here. So you have a positive charge here, here, and here. Okay. So we have to actually see their stability. We'll subsequently discuss how their stability changes or how their stability depends, depending on different Y groups. And based on that, yeah.
So, can you use that laser pointer thing to point it, because we are not able to see exactly what you are pointing at?
Yes, actually that is what I was looking for. Where can you find that?
So it's in the lower left corner, I think, mostly.
I can't actually find it. Just a moment, I will have a look if I can find. No, I can't. device settings. No, this is different. Anybody have used this laser pointer sometimes? I can't find that option
Yes,
here.
in the slideshow mode, in the lower left corner, there are some faded icons. You'll see the third icon from there is the pointer icon. You'll have options, laser pointer, this, that, a lot of options.
Yeah, but that option is not coming here. I don't see that option here actually. Okay, anyway, I think we cannot find that now. So I will find it out later, and maybe in the next class we'll have that one.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, but how does this go? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so then yeah, just look at this ortho attack, this the first point. So here, if this E comes into this ortho position, you form a positive charge here, which is adjacent to the substituent Y. And this positive charge can be in resonance, and it can form three different canonical structures. And now we have to actually look at their stability. If these are stabilized by this Y group, then you can have this ortho attack. We will discuss about this stabilization factors in the coming slides. But first, let's see how does this change with different electrophilic substitutions. So for ortho attack, you see the positive charge which is adjacent to the carbon atom, which is adjacent to the substituent. If it is meta attack, then what happens? The meta position electrophile comes in the second example. Then you have the positive charge adjacent to it, and after resonance, you get positive charge here and here. So you can observe that in this case, the positive charge does not come close to this carbon, which is directly connected to the substituents. That means in this case, if it is a donating group, it cannot stabilize this positive charge directly. Okay. Then let's see the para attack. Okay. If it is the para attack, then again the E comes at the para position, and then the positive charge comes here, and after resonance, you again see that in the middle structure, resonating structure, the positive charge is in the carbon center, which is directly attached to the Y group. Okay. So from these three different type of attacks, what we can find that when the Y is an electron donating group, when the Y is electron donating group, it can stabilize the complex A, this one, because this positive charge A, that is in the ortho attack, the first structure. Here, this positive charge is directly connected to this Y. So if Y is an electron donating group, then this, because of this electron donation, this A structure will be stabilized. Similarly, for para attack, if you see the second structure, here also the positive charge is directly connected with this substituent Y. So here also, if this Y is an electron donating group, it can stabilize the metal structure, this structure for para attack. So then what we are concluding from here is that when Y is an electron donating group, it stabilizes the sigma complexes formed by complex A that is the ortho attack, and complex B, that is the para attack. Okay. But when Y is an electron withdrawing group, then what will happen? The reverse will happen, because this positive charge is directly connected to the Y. If the Y is an electron withdrawing effect, electron withdrawing group, then it will destabilize complex A, I mean the sigma complex A and sigma complex B, I mean the middle one. So then when electron withdrawing group, then ortho attack and para attack will not be feasible, because it will destabilize the sigma complex. Okay, so A and B will not be very much stable one. But in case of meta, because this positive charge is not directly connected with the substituent, that is why for meta attack these sigma complexes are not destabilized, and that is why when Y is an electron withdrawing group, it favors the meta attack as compared to the ortho and para attack. Is it clear? Now, so what we are doing exactly, how do you know, or when let's say I give you a question, how do you initiate their analysis? So as you see that for ortho and meta, ortho para or meta attack, what we are doing is we are basically looking at their sigma complexes, okay, the stability of the sigma complexes. And if they are stable, if the sigma complexes are stable, then that particular attack leads to the product, whether it is ortho para orientation or it is meta orientation. Okay. Now there is another very crucial point that we need to look at from here is when it is an electron donating group, let's say in case of ortho or para. If it is the electron donating group, then this Y, this is a very crucial point, okay? Just pay attention. So when this Y is an electron donating group, it gives the electron to the center, to the aromatic ring. So the aromatic ring gets electronically richer than the benzene itself. So for electron donating groups, the reaction becomes a bit faster. So there are two terms, two things. I'll again discuss in the next slide. So what are the two things? One is the rate of reaction, and the second is the orientation. Orientation means ortho para or meta orientation. Rate of reaction means how fast the reaction is happening as compared to benzene itself. Okay. Now, what will be the factor to decide that? The factor deciding that is the electron donating or withdrawing power. I mean the electron richness in the benzene ring. So if the Y is an electron donating group, it gives the electron density to this aromatic ring. So this aromatic system becomes electronically richer than the benzene ring. So for ortho and para attack, most of the time in generally, the reaction rate is faster than the meta attack. Why? Because meta attack generally happens with electron withdrawing group. If the electron is being withdrawn by this substituent, this becomes electronically deficient in nature. So that is why the electrophilic attack happens in a much lesser rate. I hope it is very much clear to you. We will again see that later. So this slide is very crucial. I hope you understood. We have three different possibilities: ortho, meta, and para. In case of ortho, you have three different resonating structure. In one case, this positive charge is directly connected to Y. In para also, you have this positive charge directly connected to Y. But in this case, there is this positive charge not directly connected to Y. And that is why for ortho and para with electron donating group, these two become stabilized. But not this one. But with the meta, with electron withdrawing group, these two become destabilized. But this one not that much. So that is why electron donating group leads to ortho para attack and electron withdrawing group leads to meta attack. Correct? Okay. Now let's see an example. The factor that I just mentioned. Okay. So as we said, when it is an electron donating group, it is orthopara directing, and when it is an electron withdrawing group, it is meta directing. Now you know why. What is the reason behind it? So what are the examples? The examples are let's say you have a nitro group, let's say nitrobenzene, and you have a anisole, okay, and you are doing the nitration reaction. So now it is an electron withdrawing group. The nitrobenzene is an electron withdrawing group, so it must lead to the meta orientation. Okay. Now generally, what we observe or what is being observed that for either for orthopara orientation or for meta orientation, the major product is in this case meta product, but you do get some other mixtures. Okay, these are very much minor depending on reaction to reaction. And in case of orthopara, you do get the ortho and para is the major product and meta is the very minor product. Okay. Now in these two reactions, as the nitro is electron withdrawing group, you get the meta as the major product. And in this case OAME, this has a plus R effect, so it is a donating group. This is actually a little bit interesting. We'll also discuss a little bit later. And because of that, it gives the ortho para as the major product. So now again, which one would be more ortho or para, that also will come to the discussion as a ortho para product ratio. We'll discuss that. But the point that I want to mention from these two examples is that in these two examples, which reaction will be faster? The reaction for anisole will be much faster than the reaction for nitrobenzene. That is because in case of anisole, the plus R effect of OMe giving the electron to the system. So this system, the aromatic system, becomes electronically rich. So the nitration becomes much faster. But in case of nitrobenzene, this withdraws the electron. So the benzene ring becomes electron deficient. So in this case, the reaction will be slower than benzene. And in this case, the reaction is faster than benzene. Okay. Now, what will be doing now is we will see different examples, different substituents and their effect. How does this work? Okay. So the first category that I want to present is, okay, anyway, all these things you will find in Peter Sykes. The entire course today will be available in Peter Sykes. So first category is when Y is an electron withdrawing group. So electron withdrawal can happen either by minus I effect or by minus R effect or by both. So in these groups, you will find that this is actually either minus I effect or minus R effect or both. Okay. So, so these are then electron withdrawing group. If this is electron withdrawing group, that means it will lead to the meta orientation as the major product. Now, okay, this representation that you are seeing here, that 3 positive charge in one benzene ring, is not a correct representation. This is only for my purpose, but I just put it here for presentation purpose. Okay, but do not represent it in this way. This is a wrong representation. Okay, this is just for only my reference. I just made it in that way. What I wanted to mean here is when you have electrophilic attack at the ortho position, you get positive charge. After this positive charge getting resonance, then it forms positive charge in these 3 centers. That is what I wanted to represent for myself, but this is not a common representation or an accepted representation. So do not do that one. And when it is meta attack, you get positive charge in these 3 places. Again, when it is a para attack, then you get positive charge in these 3 places. Okay. Now, when it is an electron withdrawing group, as you know, this ortho and para attack, this positive charge will be destabilized more. So the sigma complex will be much more unstable. And for meta attack, this sigma complex will be more stable. So all of these things will lead to the meta orientation. Now, how does this differ, or what would be the difference if we change the substituents? So let's take example of this NR3 plus and NO2. The difference between these two is both of them are electron withdrawing group, but one has actual positive charge, but another has, means NO2 has the formal charge. Okay, so NR3 has the real positive charge, but NO2 has the formal charge. You know, in NO2, N is the positive and 2O is negative. If you draw the structure, you will see that one. Okay. When you find this sort of difference, the strength of electron withdrawal will be much more for this NR3 positive, where you have actual positive charge. So then this actually destabilize your sigma complex much more. This will take up the electron density much more than the NO2. So the reaction rate for NR3 plus will be slower than for NO2, because in this case the electron density is much lower. Okay, so this will be your homework, that what would be the strength order for this series, that how, I mean, in which case the reaction will be faster, in which case the reaction will be slower, based on that electron withdrawing ability. So basically you need to make an order of the electron withdrawing ability of this series, the electron withdrawing series. Okay, because that would be interesting for you, because let's say in the exam I give you 3 or 4 structures and I ask you that, okay, draw the strength of reaction rate for, let's say, electrophilic substitution reaction. Then you need to draw the meta product, and then you need to think about their electron withdrawing ability, and based on that, if it is more electron withdrawing, the reaction rate would be slower compared to benzene ring, or compared with themselves, and then you can make the order correctly. Okay. So this is our first category. First category is Y equal to electron withdrawing group. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
can you explain that NR3 plus and NO2's comparison again?
Yeah. So what I mentioned here is, in one case, NR3 plus has a actual positive charge, and NO2 has a formal charge. Because in NO2, if you draw the structure, NO2 structure, N will have a positive charge and 2 oxygen will have the negative charge. Correct? So it has a formal charge. These are not actual charge. But in NR3 plus, this is an actual charge. When you find any group which has this actual charge, their electron withdrawing ability is higher than the formal charge. Okay, so NR3 plus will withdraw the electron more than NO2. So for NO2, the reaction will be a bit faster than the NR3 plus, because the electron density is much lower for NR3 plus. Okay. Okay. Now this is the first category gone. Second category then comes electron donating group. Electron donation by either plus I effect or by plus R effect. So alkyl, this has plus I effect. Phenyl, this has plus R effect. Okay, I know you might have a question with phenyl. We'll see that one. Okay, first let's say the alkyl group. Let's say CH3. It is very much straightforward and simple. It is plus I effect, so it will definitely lead to your orthopara, because the positive charge is this place, or when this is the para atom, then also positive charge comes at this place. In both the cases, these two positive charge will be stabilized by the plus I effect of the CH3 group. So there is no doubt absolutely. And because CH3 has the plus I effect, the reaction rate for toluene will be a bit faster than the benzene itself. Okay. So that is how these alkyl groups become orthopara orienting. What about phenyl? How do we know whether it is giving plus R effect or minus R effect? Yeah, there is a simple, there is an easy way to find it out. When you attach phenyl, you check the reaction rate. and compared with benzene. If the reaction rate is faster than benzene, that means the phenyl is giving the plus IF, plus R effect, right? Means it is enriching the electron. And if the reaction rate is slower than benzene, then it is definitely electron withdrawing the electron. Okay, but if you take biphenyl, that is phenyl and another phenyl, so the reaction rate is actually a bit faster than benzene. So that means phenyl group in this kind of biphenyl system gives behaves as a plus R effect. Okay, we'll discuss about that. But before that, there is one problem. This is a very interesting problem. The question is nitration of phenyl with butyl, tertiary butyl group, CME3 group, is faster than toluene itself. Okay, so when there is a tertiary butyl group, the nitration is faster than toluene, but chlorination is slower for the first. Means chlorination is faster in the later case, for the toluene case. Why is that true? Well, if we have to consider the plus I effect only, then definitely for CME3 has a stronger plus I effect because it has this 3 methyl group, so it has stronger plus I effect, which can stabilize this positive charge more than only toluene. Correct? Actually, that is the factor that is operational in case of nitration. Nitration, the electrophile is NO2 plus, which is a very polar electrophile, and it generates a very strong positive charge. I mean, it is very much highly polar reaction, and that is why this strong positive charge is getting stabilized by this plus IF. But what happens for chlorination? Chlorination is a less polar reaction. Means you have a ClCl and then it doesn't generate the positive charge in hard positive charge in that way. So it is a less polar reaction, and that is why, since this positive charge is not as a point charge, so in this case the hyperconjugation effect is actually operational. So if this hyperconjugation happens, then this actually becomes a double bond character, and that can come all the way up to your chlorine center. Okay, so because of this hyperconjugation effect, which is possible in case of toluene and not possible in case of tertiary butyl group. So because of that, the chlorination becomes faster in case of second case, in case of toluene, but slower in case of tertiary butyl benzene.
So how did we conclude that hyperconjugation is operational just from the fact that chlorine is a less polar electrophile?
So you can see the electron, I mean the reaction rate, whether the reaction is being faster or slower. Okay, so from there you can make a reason. I mean you can understand in that way that first you check the reaction rate, which one is becoming faster and slower, and then how do you explain it? There are different way to explain. Okay, so hyperconjugation is one way to explain this phenomena in this case. Okay, there is no other way, and we have already seen that chlorine, bromine, and iodine, they generally lead to the R effect, plus R effect, or in different cases when you have, let's say, chlorobenzene or haloforms, then when it generated the negative charge, you remember in the first class. So in those cases, the chlorine, the p pi d pi or the p pi conjugations we showed. So chlorine is well known for that sort of conjugation. But so in order to do that, generally, how do it do it in this case? Then it can possibly do that via the hyperconjugation effect. Okay, so that is why the chlorination reaction has been explained based on this hyperconjugation effect. But because in this case this is a polar reaction, so it forms a positive charge. Okay, that is why in this case the reaction is faster. Okay, Okay, so now for the phenyl group. So as I said that when you take biphenyl, then actually you see that the reaction rate is faster than the benzene itself. That means the phenyl group is actually giving its electron to the another ring. Okay, so that is why the ring is becoming electronically rich and it is the reaction rate is fast. So that means phenyl ring, when it is in the biphenyl system, acts as a plus R effect. Okay. So we have then covered two things. One is minus I minus R effect, electron withdrawing. One is plus I or plus R effect, that is electron donating. Now there are many other substituents which are of different category. For example, this one. Here Y has minus I effect and plus R effect. This is a bit strange. Now your question will be which one will be operational? Minus I effect will be operational for the determination of the orthopara orientation, orthopara and meta orientation, or the plus R effect. Okay, and these are definitely the examples. Again, it is your homework to find out the strength, which one has stronger plus R effect, because based on that, based on the strength, basically the reaction rate will depend. Okay. So in this case, how does this minus I happens? You will see that in every case there is a heteroatom which is more electronegative than carbon, which is attached here, mainly here oxygen and nitrogen. Okay. So this oxygen definitely are electronegative in nature, so they have electron withdrawing effect through minus I, negative inductive effect. Okay. But also they have an electron donating lone pair, which can lead to the plus R effect. This oxygen or nitrogen also has a lone pair, and they can lead to the plus R effect. So it has a minus I effect and plus R effect. Okay. Now definitely, as I said before, that the reaction rate for the electrophilic reaction increases with the increase in the electron donating strength. The one that can donate stronger will lead to the faster reaction. Okay. Now this example is very interesting actually. Sometimes it misleads many students that when you have been given an amine, say NR2 or NH2, what would be the reaction when you do, let's say, some electrophile in acidic condition and in basic condition? So it is actually very strange, because very interesting, because in basic condition your NH2 or NR2 remains at NR2. So these lone pairs are available. They can donate the lone pair to the system. So this system becomes electron rich and leads to orthoparadic orientation. But the moment you add acid, these nitrogens take up that proton and becomes H positive. So this becomes electron withdrawing in nature then. Okay. And then it leads to meta-directing. So be careful at which pH has been mentioned for your electrophilic attack when it is an amine, because the course of the reaction can entirely change depending on the medium of the reaction. Okay. Okay. Now for halogens. Halogens also has a minus I and plus R effect. Okay. So because of that, okay, anyway, in this case, did I say already that? So in this case, your plus R effect will most of the time overpower the minus I effect. So that means this group will be mostly orthopara orienting group, okay, because the plus R is more stronger. Okay. In case of halogens, these are also orthopara orienting group. Although this has minus I effect and plus R effect, the plus R is actually stronger in some cases. But this is little bit little bit different. Let me explain how this works here. In case of halogens, these two effects has two different roles. The minus I effect controls the rate and the plus R effect controls the orientation. What does this mean? Controls the rate and controls the orientation. Minus I effect takes up the electron density from the aromatic system. So since it is a less electron dense, the reaction rate becomes less as compared to benzene, that we have discussed before. So your minus I effect controls the rate, but then the sigma complexes that it generates upon addition at the ortho position, meta or para position, those are basically getting stabilized via the plus R effect. Okay, that is why your plus R effect controls the orientation and minus I effect controls the rate. Okay, so in this case, if it is ortho attack, positive charge generates here, chlorine gives its electron as a plus R effect, stabilize the sigma complex. Same with the para attack. Here also you get a positive charge here, stabilized by the chlorine. So you also get the stabilized sigma complex. That is why these are orthopara oriented. But then it slightly differs when you compare with chlorobenzene and let's say anisole. In which case the reaction would be faster. How do we know? If you see the dipole moment, in case of chlorobenzene, the dipole is oriented towards the chlorine center. Okay, so that means the electronic flow or electron moment is actually away from the ring. So this benzene ring is a bit electron deficient in nature because chlorine has strong minus I effect. So then this benzene ring is electron deficient in nature. But if you see OAME, in this case, the dipole moment is towards the ring. So in this case, the ring is much more electronically rich. So that is why for OAME, this will lead to faster electrophilic substitution reaction as compared to chlorobenzene. Okay. So the electron donating this both has minus I effect, but in this case, this plus R effect actually increases the electron density here, and because of that, OAME lead to orthopara orientation, but the reaction rate is faster than the chlorobenzene. Okay, so here it is written: rate of electrophilic attack of former, that is in case of chlorobenzene, is slower than the later. Okay, so in case of there are two effects, minus I and plus R. Minus I effect is operational stronger in case of chlorobenzene, and that is why the dipole moment is towards the chlorine. But in case of OAME, the plus R effect is actually leading for this dipole moment in this case. So both are orthopara orienting group, but the reaction rate for the anisole is faster than the chlorobenzene. Okay. Okay, now it comes the orthopara product ratio. So we have seen that when it is an electron donating group, you get either ortho product or para product, and maybe very little negligible amount of meta product. Okay, let's take only to ortho product or para product. Now, how do we know which product will be more or which product will actually form in case of orthopara orienting group? So it's very simple. If you have, let's say, this Y group, Y remains constant, then if the steric factor is basically in this case, the steric factor is mostly operational. In some cases, electronic factors too, but we will give you one example what I exactly mean by the electronic factor. So according to steric factor, if the Y remains constant, if the electrophile size increases, then the steric interaction between this Y group will increase. So then your para product ratio will increase. Right? It's very simple. So when Y remains constant, if you increase the size of the electrophile, then your para product will be increased because at ortho position there will be steric interaction. In the same way, If the electrophile remain constant, if you increase the Y group, the size of the Y group, then also they will have interaction, steric interaction. So again, your para product will increase. So there are two things. Either you increase the size of the Y or you increase the size of the electrophile. In both the cases, it leads to the steric interaction, and that is why your para product will increase. But there is a exclusion, okay, exception, okay, exception in case of your halogen series. If you see in the halogen series, from fluorine to chlorine to bromine to iodine, their size actually increases, but in this case the order is actually reversed. So the ortho product ratio actually becomes more towards this series, although the size increases, because in this case the steric factor is less important than the electronic factor. Okay, in this case the fluorine, the electronegativity decreases drastically from the left hand side to right hand side, and that is why your electron availability, uh, here it says the electron availability at the ortho position increases from left hand side to right hand side. That is because the electronegativity drastically decreases. So that means at the ortho position, electron availability is much more when you go from fluorine to iodine. Is it clear? Let me tell you again. So when we see the halogen series, we see that the size increases from fluorine to iodine. So we can think that maybe from fluorine to iodine, the para product amount would be more, but it is not true in case of halogen series. That is because the electronegativity drastically decreases from left hand side to right hand side, from fluorine to iodine. So that means at the ortho position, the electron density is much higher from left hand side to right hand side. Okay, and that is why the electronic factor overpowers the steric factor in this case. So your ortho product becomes much higher. So that is why ortho to para product ratio also higher from left hand side to right hand side. Okay, got it? Okay, this example is very interesting example. Okay, pay attention. So there are some reactions where the ortho product or the para product is designed in such a way that it actually can lead to, or you are basically directing it to a particular attack. So the question comes like nitration of 1-methoxy-2-phenyl ethane, this compound leads to 32% of ortho and 59% of para isomer, means measured as a para isomer when treated with nitrating mixture, but measure of ortho isomer when treated with N2O5 in acetonitrile. Why? So when we are treating with nitrating mixture, the electrophile is NO2 plus, and that can react either your ortho position or your para position. In ortho position, because this group is a bit bulk, so the reaction can happen in the para position. Okay, so that is why you get a mixture of ortho and para, but the para is more because the substituent is a bit bulky. But when this N2O5 is taken, what does it generate? It generates NO2 and ONO2. So this oxygen lone pair actually binds to this NO2 to generate the electrophile intramolecularly, intramolecular in nature, and then intramolecularly this benzene ring attacks here, so that it do not have much preference for the para attack. Okay, so that is why it leads to major ortho product and the minor as a para product. Okay.
Sir, can you explain this again?
Yeah. So when we are taking this nitrating mixture is not much connected with this oxygen. So it is free and it is available in the medium. So you have preference to attack at the ortho and the para product. But because of this substituents, bulky substituents, the para product is preferred. But when we are taking this N2O5, the electrophile is getting generated after this oxygen coordination with this NO2. So then this becomes NO2 positive, and then it can now react with nitrogen in the intramolecular fashion. So your ortho, so basically you are channelizing or you are directing your NO2 to react at the ortho position. That is why the ortho product amount or the product ratio in case of N2O5 becomes much higher than when you are taking the nitrogen mix.
Sir, so after that oxygen coordinates with NO2, that
Yeah.
ONO2 part, it leaves the system.
Yeah. So this ONO2, now this ONO2 becomes the electrophile, and this is proximally available at the ortho position. Right? So like kind of a cyclic type of intermediate, and this NO2 is available close to this ortho position, and that is why the ortho product amount or the ortho para product ratio increases in this case. Okay. So basically you are, as I said, you are channelizing or you are forcing the reaction to happen in the ortho position. Okay. Okay. Now this ipso substitution, this is a very interesting reaction. So when we do the electrophilic attack, generally you have seen that there is one substitution, and that substitution is directing or dictating where the incoming electrophile should come. Okay, if it is an electron donating substituent, the Y, if this Y is electron donating, then it would lead to ortho or para product. If it is withdrawn, it would lead to meta product. But we have not seen, we have not discussed before what will be the fate of this Y. So in some of the electrophilic substitution cases, it has been observed this Y could also be substituted by different other electrophiles. So you take this Y and then you have this electrophile, and then this electrophile connects to the same center and it replaces the Y with an E. But this majorly and mostly happens when this Y has its inherent stability. The cation, the Y plus that it generates after dissociation, has its stability. Most of the time 2 degree, secondary or tertiary alkyl substituents lead to this sort of ipso substitution. But this is very interesting. Sometimes some question comes that, okay, this substituent, what will happen if you treat with this one? So there could be two possibilities. In some cases, or maybe a mixture, you get substituted product, or you also get a replaced or displaced product. Okay. So for example, this SiMe3, if you treat with acid, this SiMe3 actually leaves and then it replaces with the hydrogen. Okay. Most examples are observed when you have the secondary or tertiary alkyl groups. So these are actually the cations generated from these groups are stable, and because of that, when you react with some electrophile, you can see that they are either giving the addition, the electrophilic addition, or electrophilic displacement reaction in this case. Okay. In case of this 135 tritertiary butyl benzene, when it is the nitration reaction, you see that only one of the CMH group are replaced. But if the bromination reaction is carried out, then there are two bromine inserted. So this could probably happen because NO2 is much electron withdrawing in nature. So it deactivates the system. That is why other groups cannot leave. But in case of bromine, it is not as strong as NO2. So probably two of the CMHC group can be replaced or displaced. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
what will happen if we use a normal nitrating mixture here? Does it also depend upon what kind of what kind of mixture we are using? Because what will happen in the second case if we use a mixed acid type of mixture?
Probably mixed acid case also you will see this kind of reaction. Okay, but see mixed acid case it will be difficult because your this compound is not very soluble in water. Mixed acid if you take most of the time, mostly you have to take water as the solvent, correct? But this compound will not be soluble in water. So how do you do the reaction? So that is why these kind of complexes are generally taken because these are soluble in organic solvents as well. So then the reaction can go ahead. For example, in case of bromine, you take CCl4, these are nonpolar solvent. This nonpolar solvent can easily solubilize your starting material. Okay, so that is how these reactions are being done. Okay. So last point that we will mention for today is
Sir,
the kinetic. Yeah,
question in the previous question, if we
yeah,
take 2 moles of NO2 BH4 BF4,
yeah.
then how many nitrating group will it replace?
Yeah. So in this case, mostly you get this mononitro as the 100% product. That is because, as I said, this NO2 is electron withdrawing in nature, highly electron withdrawing in nature, which deactivates the system so that the further displacement generally does not happen. That is
And
the,
sir, in the second example of bromine,
yeah,
replacement of 2 bromine is not because of 2 moles of bromine is present in the Br2, or it is because of its nature, like because in third example of NO2 there is only 1 mole of NO2 is present, 1 unit of NO2 will be generated, but in bromine there are 2 units of bromine generated. So is there any reason for that?
see, they do not see in that way. This concept is not correct because you see bromine, there are two molecules of bromine there. But do you know how this bromination happens? So you have a bromine-bromine bond, and one bromine is del positive, another bromine is del negative. So even if it has two molecules of bromine, two atoms of bromine, one Br2 leads to only one bromine. Remember that. Okay. So if you have to do, let's say, phenol or aniline, if you have to make tribromo, you have to add actually 3 moles of bromine, means 3 Br2, not 1.5 Br2, because 2 Br are not available for an electrophilic attack. The moment a nucleophile attack one bromine, another bromine goes as a Br negative. So one bromine is Br positive, another bromine is Br negative. Until and unless you oxidize that bromine with something else, that bromine is not available to you anymore. So Br2 actually one molecule, one can provide only one molecule of bromine, correct?
Yes, sir.
So yeah,
Sir,
yeah.
then here in the third example, we are actually using 2 moles of Br2CCl4 for this
You
reaction.
you can consider like excess. Okay? You can consider like more amount, large amount of Br2 in CCl4. It is
And
mostly,
and
yeah.
what will be the rest of the 29% of the product?
It could be either monogenic or unreal. Mostly it is monogenic. I mean, it has not been written, but I think it is monogenic. It is a monogenic and digenic. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, it is mostly the electronic effect that is being displayed in these two examples. So the electronic effect is actually leading to this kind of product formation. Okay, you can see a detailed explanation or examples in the book of Peter Sykes. Okay, these examples are also there. You can find and you can see. Okay. Okay, so let's go to the last part of today's lecture. This is the kinetic versus thermodynamic control. I think you, most of you have also heard about this thing. So when the reaction is, I mean, in layman's language, when the reaction is a bit faster, this is kinetic. When the reaction is slower and more stable, it is thermodynamic. How it happens, when it happens, why it happens. Okay. So in several reactions, you will see that the product that it generates can also have alternate product. Okay. Or maybe there is a choice or possibility of formation of two different products. In those kind of cases, this thermodynamic versus kinetic factor comes in. In one case, you see one product. In another case, you see generation of a different product. Okay. So this kinetic versus thermodynamic comes only when you have a proportion of alternate product formation possibilities are there. Then what happens? Among those two or more possible product formation, if the relative rate is higher, if it based on the rate, then it is a kinetically controlled. We call those reactions as kinetically controlled reaction. But if the product formation happens depending on the stability of the intermediate or the isomer or the product, then we call the thermodynamically controlled product. So generally, most of the time what happens, you do a reaction, it goes fast in one step to generate an intermediate or a product. If you isolate it, fine. If you allow more time with different temperature condition, that intermediate product will slowly turn into a more stable product. So the first product that went to very fast, we call them as kinetic product, and slowly it converts into a more stable product. We call them as thermodynamic product. So how does this transformation can happen from kinetic product to thermodynamic product? So generally, kinetic product goes to thermodynamic product, but thermodynamic product very rarely comes to the kinetic product. It can come, but it's very rare. Okay. So how it can happen that alternate products are mutually interconvertible under the reaction condition? One possibility is the direct isomerization. So first you form the kinetic product, which directly isomerize or do something to convert into the thermodynamic product. Or second thing, so first you have a starting material, kinetically it goes to the product. Then again, over time, the product comes back again to the starting material because the reaction is reversible. The product comes back to the starting material and then again take another path of reaction to a more stable thermodynamic product. So what did I say? There are two different ways for the interconversion of the kinetic to thermodynamic product. What is the first possibility? First you generate the kinetic product. This kinetic product transform via direct isomerization or other chemical reaction to the thermodynamic product. This is your first possibility. Second possibility, you have a starting material, you have a product, kinetic product. These are reversible in nature. So from the kinetic product, this kinetic product again comes back to the starting material and then take another route to generate the more stable thermodynamic product. These are the two possibilities. Okay, so this much is understood, right? So first, kinetic versus thermodynamic control consideration comes when you have two different product formation possibilities are there. If the reaction is happening very fast, if it is rate controlled, then it is called kinetically controlled product. If it is the stability controlled, it is called thermodynamic product. Now those two different products, how do they change or how do they interconvert? Either by direct isomerization or other reaction, or coming back to the starting material and then going to the more stable product. One example I will give, this example I have already showed before. Now you can recall, actually last class we have discussed this example, correct? You remember. What did we say that when we take, let's say, this ethyl benzene in presence of a Lewis acid and HF, hydrofluoric acid, it leads to three different products. So first, basically your ethyl gas gets removed by hydrogen, it gets replaced by hydrogen. So you generate this ethyl fluoride. That ethyl fluoride it reacts, you generate this ethyl fluoride, reacts with your starting ethyl benzene to form this para product. Okay, 1,4-diethyl benzene. So this is your kinetically controlled product. Okay, this is your kinetically controlled product, and yeah, I cannot see here. So now what happened? You have this HF and PF3, and then again it forms, let's say, this cationic charge, and then your ethyl migration happens, and after that you forms this meta product. And then last class also we showed, or we said that the meta product, the meta isomer, is actually more stable than the para isomer. You remember that, because in this case you have two positive charge in two places which are being stabilized by two of these ethyl moieties. So the stabilization in case of meta product is much higher than in case of para, because here you have only one positive charge which is getting stabilized by this ethyl moiety. So your meta product is more stable than your para. So in this course of reaction, what happens? Kinetically, you generate 1,4-diethyl benzene, but then it undergoes rearrangement to form the meta product. So this is your thermodynamically controlled product because this is more stable, but this is your kinetically controlled product, which is a bit less stable. Okay, so that is how your thermodynamic versus kinetic varies. I will also give many other examples in the aliphatic system when we do later, when the electrophilic and nucleophilic addition to C double bond C will be taught. That time again I will come back to this thermodynamic and kinetic factors. So for today we'll stop here. I hope you understood most of the thing.